Every time an orphan takes a selfie, he's basically taking a family photo. This is Epic Thought. Yo, that was a dark joke, but so am I. Anyways, welcome to Epic Thoughts. It's your boy, Ramon. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful, blessed, and highly favored Tuesday afternoon or evening, wherever you're tuning in from. What up on the live? What up? Shout out to YouTube and everybody else who's watching. Yo, today is again just me and you. Got some guests coming up in the next couple of weeks, but right now it's just me and you. We're gonna chit chat and talk about some stuff. So I had an idea, I had a plan of what I was going to talk about, and immediately, just right now, I lost it. I forgot it. Oh, it just came back. Okay. So to preference this, what we're talking about today, to preference this, I gotta tell you what happened 2 weeks ago. Okay. So 2 weeks ago, shout out to Connection Church over here in Corona, California. I spoke at a Sunday morning. I did the 2 services. And I talked a little bit about short faith here on this podcast, but I really kind of went in on it at the church service. So I preached about short faith. And it was like God showed up, did some miraculous things and stuff like that. And we always talk about on the show, we always talk about, hey, pastors and ministers, they're not exempt from anything, you know. And for me, I like to really share things I'm walking out. I like to really share things I'm dealing with and talking through. So I don't want to be one of those ministers that share stuff and they don't go through it themselves or they don't know what they're talking about. I'm just reading it from the scripture and these are the notes and this is what God gave me. Most of the time, my message comes out of my life. So short faith was kind of like something that God was challenging even me with. And so after that day, I felt like it could be God, it could be the enemy. You never really know until the end. I felt like something was like, okay, we're going to test your gangster. And life has kind of just hit this wall since then. It's been a really hard time and it's been really sucky. And I was like starting to question my faith, like, yo, you know how you have a game plan for what you're going to do with life, and you have this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do A, and then I'm gonna do B, then I'm gonna get up on the early mornings and do C, and then D, E, F, and then when all that stuff works out right, then I'm gonna be able to do this, and then boom, I'll be able to live out my dream. Well, every time I have always had thoughts like that. And my stuff is never A, B, C, D. If you're like me, it's never in order. So you're like, I'm gonna start at A, but next thing I know, I'm gonna jump to G because some things have changed, and then I might come double back down to C, and then maybe I'll go to H. You know, so it's just kind of like you get in where you fit in. And I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, if you're anything like me, and I hope that many people are, you got some way out fabricated like if God don't show up, the dream ain't happening, like those far out ones. So I got far out things that I'd be hoping for and believing God for it. So when that came to play, something kind of whenever you do that, you're always gonna have these moments where you have to question, like, yo, am I really called to this? Am I really gonna do this? Am I really prepared? Do I have what it takes? And if you ask yourself if you have what it takes, the answer right now is no, you don't have what it takes. But that's quite all right. That's quite all right if you don't have what it takes because it's not about you anyways. So a couple of weeks had gone by, life just started hitting me in the face like gut punch and uppercuts and ailing family members and failed relationships, failed business propositions, just bad stuff happening all the time. And I'm the kind of person that I like to be the one to say, yo, just because something bad is happening to you doesn't mean it's not God. Doesn't mean that God's not on your side just because bad stuff happens. You know, you don't want to be one of those cheesy Christians or weak. Let's just call it what it is. That's a weak Christian thinking, to be like, it's bad stuff is because God doesn't love me. That's a weak way of looking at it. Also, another weak way of looking at it is when we say, oh, God's not showing up is because Jesus doesn't love me. That's another weak way of processing it. And I'm not trying to get into your business and tell you that God is in something or not. I'm just saying, like, those are weak ways to look at it. So um I had those moments though where I wanted to ask myself the same question, like, yo, am I called to this? And this is me, dude. This is me being vulnerable and honest and to help others out. Everybody's going to go through this moment. Everybody's going to go through a moment where stuff gets crazy, stuff gets sideways. You have to remember what it is that you're called to and what it is you're supposed to be doing. What's your plan? What's your goal? And I think it's important to have a plan, because when you have a plan, that plan keeps you focused when these moments start to happen. And so I felt like the enemy was like, I'm going to call you on your bluff. I'm going to call you to see if you really got good faith or if your faith is really short. If you have just a small ounce of faith, or do you have the faith to go the distance? Can you see this thing all the way through, even when it doesn't look like it's going to happen? And as you grow and get better and get and move past some things, you win some battles, you defeat some habits and stuff like that starts happening, and you start grooming yourself into this person that you're like shocked and you're thankful for, and you're living a blessed life and you have a blessed family and stuff like that. Those moments does not exempt you from those hard times. And there's going to be times where you're just going to have to get angry. You're just going to have to get angry and mad and just be like, you know what? No, I'm not going to take this lying down. I'm not going to take this. And today I had a day where I was kind of like, I, I deal with depression and anxiety on not a very massive level, but I do battle it. I do struggle with it. There's times where I'm thoughts get in my head and I get in my own way sometimes. And um, that that can lead to either having like, that's why I don't have major success, or that's why I only have a little bit itty bitty success. Like those things really kind of catch up with you when you're dealing with emotional issues and you're dealing with emotional problems. And for men, it's really hard. And I'm speaking for men as a man. Men is really hard because we don't share things. We don't like talking about stuff, and we find out real quick sometimes when we try to share things with people. We find out real quick why we don't share things with people, because people just don't really accept. Men are not supposed to carry emotion like sometimes we do. And so a lot of times we just kind of suffer in silence. And I think the enemy wants us to do that. I think it's in his best interest that we suffer and struggle in silence and not really know what's going on and not take authority of things, not take control of things, and just kind of like battle stuff out. And when you start battling inwardly, when you're trying to do things on your own power, even when stuff gets bad and you don't turn to God, you don't pray, you don't read your word, you don't seek the Father in situations like the one I'm going through, you find yourself in this place where anxiety takes over, depression, and it's just a bad place to be. So I've been in this moment for like 2 weeks, man, where bad got to worse and worse has got to devastating. And like, I've been having these moments where I'm up and then I immediately go down. Then I come up again, like everything's, oh yeah, we're gonna be good. Then it goes down, and I realize, yo, it's that. I think it might be that message I preached, because I think I need to walk through what I just spoke. And you gotta walk through hard things before you get to the gold, right? You got. I see people all the time talk about, yeah, this is my dream. This is what I vision. This is what my passion is. This is what I want to do with my life. All right, let's go. Let's get there. And the first sign of a problem, the first sign of trouble, they're bailing out. Like, y'all boy, I'm out. I can't do this. This is too hard. I don't know how many times I've met quitters along the journey of life, and quitting is not in my vocabulary. Now, some people tell you it's okay to quit, and I personally will believe that there's certain times where quitting is probably advantageous. You should probably shut some things down, um, or I don't believe in quitting altogether. I do believe in like adjusting, right? Adjusting. Like I talk about this all the time. Rapping at an older age. Okay. If you're rapping because you love the art, you should never stop rapping, right? If you love the game and you just like, man, I just keep making music and this stuff keeps coming to me, I just keep giving the ideas. Yo, keep going to the studio and drop your joint. You trying to be you trying to be like, I don't know who's hot right now, but you try to be hot. You trying to beat out these young cats, and you keep talking, wait till the block hear me. Let's adjust. Let's adjust that dream. Let's adjust that dream. I'm gonna be the new Miss America. If you're 45, let's adjust that dream. Let's adjust it. I'm not saying, and I don't want to be the person. I don't ever want to be the person to be like, yo, you can't do this. I believe you can do a lot of things. You just have to kind of adjust it and see what it is you can do. Can you have a successful music career starting at 46, 50 in hip hop? Yes, you can. You just have to work a little bit harder than the young cats do. You have to wrap your mind about what your market is, who's your target audience and stuff like that. So I'm never going to be the one to tell you to give up on the dream, right? I would say you probably have to readjust it and relook at it. But quitters, I got nothing in common with people who quit. And that's what makes me me. Like I will say the thing that makes me is sometimes I'll talk about quitting, but I truly deep down inside, I have no concept of the term. I have no concept of how do you wake up in the morning and be like, I can't do this no more. I'm done. And walk away from something. Like my brain doesn't function like that. Like even if it's something that I don't want to do, right? If it's something that I don't want to do, but I put my word out there and I said to somebody, I'm going to do A, B, and C. And then this has happened many times. Start the project and be like, yo, dude, why I say yes to this? Why I say yes? I shouldn't have said yes to this. Man, how many weeks I got to do this for? 23 weeks? Dang. I've always found it in my heart to find something to go, I'm not gonna walk out of this. I'm not gonna quit this. I'm gonna push through and get things done. I'm gonna finish it because I feel like when you put your word out there for something, that's all you got going for you, man. That's all you got. And when you start quitting, it just it puts you in a bad perspective. And what makes it worse is when you put God in it. That's why I can't stand it when people put God in it, on God, or Christians like, I believe God told me to all right, I'm gonna get into my business now. I believe God told me to okay, shoot. So this happened. This is real talk. I've been running Hope for a year now. Okay, so many people don't know I inherited Hope Recovery Center and Hope Studios. It has put Heritage Park on the back burner, but can't quit. Got to figure out that too. And I'm in the process of figuring that out while raising money for both businesses, mind you. So I had somebody tell me the other day, or actually not the other day, a year ago, almost a year to the day. Hey man, listen, my family is moving, but my family, we were hardcore investors in Hope. We gave, and he told me how much he gave. We gave this much a month, and we're going to start back up. We had to get settled in our new house, and once we got settled in our new house, we're going to start giving. I said, okay, and I'm like whatever, because I hear it all the time. Whenever somebody tries to tell me something, especially from that kind of culture, I literally like, all right, we'll see. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna start in September. I was like, okay, cool. And then I didn't know he meant September 2023 because he didn't get nothing all year. That's my point. He getting nothing all year. See him at places, he'd be like, oh man, did you get the check I sent you? No, I didn't get the check. Okay, I'm gonna send the check this week. I still ain't seen no check. Then he said, now according to him, he sent like 4 or 5 checks. Okay. I tell you right now, I know that man's lying. That man, that's in one dang check. And people do this. We put God on it. God told me. God told me to sow a seed. God told me to do this for you. God told me to do that for you. And then they fail after like 2-3 attempts or 2-3 weeks. But you're just like, why would you lie on God like that? Why this week you call to be a pastor, next week you're called to be a plumber? Like, you make God look like a schizophrenic, right? Like God, like he don't know what to do with you. And we do that to them a lot. Like, yo, I'm gonna be a singer. Okay, great. Then they find out they got work to be a singer. And like, no, I'm gonna be a model. Okay. And then next thing you know, you look at Instagram, like, oh, they're braiding hair. Well, yeah, this is where God wants me. Stop making excuses and just say, yo, it's me. I got a problem. I can't stick to one thing. I gotta do something else. Or I'm looking for the easy route. I'm looking for something that pays off right quick. I'm looking for overnight success. I'm looking for something to finish it. I'm looking for something to do right now. I'm be honest with you. I don't know what to do with my life. I'm just following what's popular. I see this guy that I follow. He's got 100,000 followers. I need 100,000 followers, so I'm gonna do what he do. We have the ability to not be authentic, and where it really bothers me is in the body of Christ. It really bothers me to a higher level because we supposed to. I sound like a Louisiana slave. We supposed to have we're supposed to have God on our side. So we're supposed to be able to do great we're supposed to do great outings and great outlooks and have these great moments. And we have God on our side. But at the same time, we keep falling short because we can't stick to something. We can't follow something all the way through to the end, go through the hard moments, we can't do that. And what does that make God look like if we can't finish things? We can't even keep marriages, right? They were saying that the divorce rate in the church is the same as it is in the world, close to the same. So believers are divorcing just as much as worldly people. So then you got people looking at you like, well, God clearly is not the difference maker because you're just as fragile as the world is. Man, this is tough for a Tuesday evening. This is supposed to be a podcast. You ain't supposed to be getting into me like that. If it is what it is, then it is. That's a Ramon Merchant quote. If it is what it is, then it is. You take that to the bank. Cash your check. And if you use it in your book, you owe me 50 cents for every copy of the book you make. But we do that a lot, man. It's a very poor way to go through life because it makes God look like a schizophrenic. It makes God look like he don't know what he's doing, And shout out to the people who really trying to make marriage work. Like, I tell you right now, marriage is harder than the mug. It is harder than the mug, bro. Life is hard. Single life is hard. Listen, if you single, I got bruh. If you single out here, bro, and you looking for a mate, I feel for you. I really, really do, because there's slim pickings out here. Especially if you're a believer and you try and find somebody who just holds the same values as you, bro. It's rough out here for you. I get it. So that's why we need God more than ever. But then even with that, and listen, the Bible really makes it very plain on how to date. He makes it very plain on how to be married and stay married. It's tough out there. It's hard out there. It takes people with real conviction to be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stick things out. And let me help you out with conviction. Let's break down this thing called conviction. Let's break this thing down. Conviction is not about what you're forcing other people to do, right? I got convictions about certain things in my life that when you look in the scriptures, it is not sin, right? There are certain things that people try to push up on me as a conviction for me. Convictions are not universal. They're not for everybody. Like, what convicts you won't convict me. What convicts me don't convict you. And I would never, even from the pulpit, I don't push my convictions on other people, right? I don't try to become a stumbling block for other people as well. So if I know, for example, that you have a conviction, I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head. If I know you have a conviction about alcohol, and I have alcohol in my house because I don't have a conviction about it. First of all, when you come to the house, I'm gonna make sure the alcohol is out of your sight. Okay, because it don't bother me. Let's say if it don't bother me, then it don't bother me. I'm not gonna be like, yo, you should start drinking more because that's the Bible talk about when Paul told Timothy, a little bit of wine helps your stomach out. Like, that's not my business to put my conviction on you. Like, I don't know what God told you. So that may be a strong conviction for you, and I need to respect it. Like some people, I at one point I had a conviction on certain type of movies, horror films. And then I didn't realize it until I was talking to my homie today. I'm like, damn, you watch a lot of horror films. So I'm like, oh, I guess that conviction is kind of out the window. But maybe I need to pick up the that conviction and go back to it, because I didn't realize how many I've seen until we were talking about horror films, and I was like, yo, I've seen a few. But it was, at one point, it was a strong conviction for me. It was like, yo, I felt like it was affecting my faith, because I had such a vivid imagination that it was installing fear into my mind. And for me, I need as much faith as I can get, because fear drives away faith. If you want to mess with your fear, there's nothing else that destroys faith more than fear, right? And faith is a currency that is not just a Christian currency. Like, people in the secular world who are successful, I'll guarantee you, I'll show you that they got faith somewhere. As a matter of fact, James talks about it, is one of my favorite scriptures, where it says, you show me somebody who said they got faith, I'll show you somebody who got faith by what they do. Like, people who, there's secular people, secular businessmen, secular producers, artists, creatives, who start massive movements just because they believed. They started working because they believed that it would happen. They were going to, there's actors who were going to auditions just because they believed they could do it. So if you believe you can do something, you're going to start doing it. Because faith is more than just, I feel it here, I feel it here, I see it even though nobody else sees it. Faith is like, I see it, I feel it, I'm going to do it even though I know it's not there. I'm going to start working that dream out. And I would dream I would dream more and more and more, and I'm going to work more. I'm going to work more until it manifests. Sometimes we have a until moment. We're going to keep doing this until. We're going to keep working hard until or if it doesn't happen after so many times of us trying, we're going to stop. That bothers me, because what if it happens on the 6th time? What if it happens on the 9th time? What if it happens on the 100th time? What if it happens on the 150th time? Because think about it. If you're trying to build something, you're trying to build a business or a ministry or a church, or you're trying to, get into acting, whatever it is, and you fail 99 times, how many times do you need to work? I only needed to work one time. So I could keep trying for years. I just needed to break once. And once it breaks once, it changes everything. So it's hard for me to be like, I tried 20 times and I failed 20 times. In my head, it goes, you only needed to work one time. So why not try the 21st time? I failed 21 times. Well, I got to try it again, because I only needed to work one time. My friends, you only needed to work one time. You only need to hit one time. Because once you hit one time, you'll find your groove, and you'll be like, I know what I did to make it work. And I'll duplicate it, and I'll make it happen again. And then it works 2 times. Like, man, I'll duplicate it and make it 4. And then next thing you know, that's living your dream. So I think we need to be thankful and keep our head up when we're failure number 35. Because it's like with, I think it was Edison, where they were like, he failed thousands of times. And here's the other thing, in the thousands of times that he failed trying to discover electricity, they asked him questions like, didn't you ever get frustrated? You failed like thousands of times. And his response was, no, I just learned how not to do it. I just learned that wasn't the way. I learned from my mistakes, because, failure is just a mistake. Failure is just a door that closed that showed you that wasn't the right way. So if I keep having these closed doors, I'm eventually going to find the one that opens. So failure is not as big as we make it to be, right? Failure is a learning process. I actually, I said this to when I was coaching, I told a bunch of kids this one time, because we celebrated this year my 100th baseball win. It was really cool. like my 100th baseball win. We didn't win many after that this season. Like this season was rough baseball wise from my kids and my own baseball team. It's rough. And sometimes baseball, you have those seasons. Sometimes you have those seasons where you're killing everybody in the game. And then there's seasons where you're just not the one. It's just not your year. And this year was just not our year. And someone made the joke of, man, you're gonna reach 100 losses before you get to 100 wins, which we didn't. Like it was a big gap. But I remember saying to them, I was like, yo, I wouldn't have wins if I didn't have losses. Because in losses, I learned how to win. Right? My first season coaching, 3 wins, 21 losses. 3 wins, 21 losses. We got our butt kicked every night. Except for the first game, the last game, and some random game in the middle. We won those 3. We won the first game of my coaching career. We won the first one. That season, we won the last one, but there was no way in the playoffs. And then we randomly won a game in the middle of the year. So we only won 3 games. And I learned after those 21 losses, I would sit there and I go, Now, most people quit. I guess I ain't good at this. I lost 21 times. There's 24 games. I lost 21 of them. And I knew I was coming back because I loved the game. I wanted to be part of it. But I knew I was coming back. So I was like, I had to figure out what I was doing wrong because it was, it could be them, but it could be me. And then I started realizing things that my team was missing that was costing us games. I was like, oh, we don't have a da-da-da kind of player. We don't have this kind of player. We don't have that kind of player. Oh my gosh, I didn't put together the team to win. So the next season came and we went through the whole process again, going through players and stuff like that. And I started picking players differently. I started picking players on talent and where I could fit them. Players that wanted to play specialized positions that nobody else wanted to play. Because there's, in Little League, you get into place where dudes don't want to play. I don't want to play third base. I'm like, okay, but there's no one else playing third base. I got 5 shortstops. I just don't want to play shortstop. Okay. All right, then we just got nobody playing third. And so the next season, I kind of just learned, and I learned how the game kind of worked at that level. So I went and looked for players that function well at that level. So the next season came around and the standings are my record flipped. We went 25 wins, 3 losses, and we won the championship. The next year. And all I did was learn from my losses. Because here's the thing. You don't learn from wins. You celebrate wins. You don't have learning lessons from wins. You have learning lessons from L's. Sometimes we take the L as a loss. Sometimes the L is for learning. That's where we take our L's, and you adjust and then you try again. Then you'll find your win. Some people take it too far. There's a lot of people who would quit. As a matter of fact, I know people on top of my head right now that wouldn't even finish the season. We're 1 win and 12 losses. And they would give up. We were still practicing. We were still going to cages. We were still working out systems. I'm still working out, and I'm adjusting every night. And we're still getting the brakes beat off of us. And some people will just, sometimes people quit, but let their body still be part of it. Like some people do this in relationships. I already quit the relationship. I'm just physically there. I already quit the job. I'm just physically there to get the check. Mentally, I'm somewhere else. Mentally, I'm in another marriage. Mentally, I'm in another position. Mentally, I'm on to the next class. If we don't know how to work and adjust where we are, what makes you think that the win is going to make you a better person? And I think we have so much of our self-worth into that W or that L. Our self-worth is in that win or in that loss. And you got to be careful, because if your self-worth is in that win, then what is an L going to do to you? An L is going to destroy you, man. It's going to destroy you. What good is it to gain the world and you lose your soul? You got to be mindful of that joint, because it's important that you embrace those moments because there's nothing more real than having a failure. There's nothing more real about it. Some failures cost more than others. I get that. And some failures hurt more than others. I get that. But failure doesn't mean the end. Failure doesn't mean you're done. Failure just means, hey, you lost that moment. You lost this battle. Adjust. Why did you lose? What choices did you make or didn't make that got you to this point? There's times I have to look at my life. I have to look at my bank account. I have to look at everything. And I have to ask myself the question, what choice did I make to put me here? Something put me here. Some choice I had got me here. Let me deal with this so I don't have to repeat this lesson. And I feel like sometimes when, especially if you're a believer and you're walking with God and you're trying to get to a certain point in life, sometimes you have these failures and it's just God's pointing out like, hey, there's a problem right here. You need to fix this. If you can fix this, then you'll see the results that you're looking for. You're failing because of this. And sometimes I wonder, because here's the thing, God is not a respecter of persons. And I am at a point in my life, and I don't know if you're here yet. If you're not, God bless you, man. But I'm here. I have absolutely, unequivocally, have no faith in humanity. I have no faith in humanity. I don't even have faith in my own humanity. I have no faith in humanity. I don't trust not one single person. I trust that people are going to do the things that's going to benefit them because most people only think about themselves. Not a lot of people think about other people or care. I don't think people care about people. I think people like to act like they care, but they really, really don't care. They care about the bottom line. And the truth be told, because of inflation, because of policies that our politicians have put us in, because of situations, because of our food is a big part. No American is really in the right set of mind for much of anything. And they're going to make a decision to deal with their bottom line. I do believe a lot of Americans are suffering, and a lot of Americans won't talk about what they're suffering with. I think a lot of Americans are broke, and they're at the point where they're desperate in their financial stance. I think a lot of Americans are sick, physically sick and mentally sick, and I think our food has something to do with it. I'm on a thing, bro, about food, and I'm like, yo, these jokers are trying to kill us only for one reason alone, for profit. We are being killed for profit. Like the food that we are buying at our grocery stores and that we're eating on a daily basis is so full of chemicals that should not be in our body. And I think that people are trying to kill us on purpose for profit. I think some of the choices our politicians are making are downright evil, selfish, and it's just, I have no faith in humanity. I have no faith. Okay. Saying that, I want you to understand that you're not the only one that suffers. You're not the only one that suffers. I believe that many, 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 many people suffer. And they struggle. And if you can get out of your own way, not only and go back to the plan that you originally had for yourself, not only do I think you'll make a difference in the world, or you'll make a difference in your life, you make a huge difference in somebody else's. I think that everyone has a problem on this planet that they're supposed to solve. And in order to solve that problem, they got to overtake and overcome some things. So, but my original point about the world I'm losing faith in humanity, is people think that they suffer because God don't like them. or people think they suffer because they have sin in their life. And I used to think that too. And I think I battle that joint. I battled that junk like, yo, the reason why I don't have what I need is because I got sin in my life, man. And I'm always trying to, and here's the problem. This is the cycle that religion teaches us that's kind of toxic. If you ask me, it's kind of toxic. I keep making this, I keep trying to make the changes to adjust and be right. And whenever I do something right and I still fail, I find something else wrong. And when I fix that, I find something else wrong. And then I fix that and I find something else wrong. So it's like, I remember my oldest niece, her name is Amber. And one day I was hanging out with her and she had to be like 4. And we were playing Candyland. And while we were playing Candyland, this joker was cheating. She cheated the whole game. Like, I remember Candyland, there was no dice. You pulled the card and the card had a color on it and you had to go to the next color. So if you had pink, you get to move your piece to the next pink. If it had 2 pinks, you would have to go to the second pink and stuff like that. And I remember I would pull a color and it was double purple. She'd be like, nope, that means that you have to go back to. I was like, no, it doesn't. It means I can go forward to. And then she was like, no, you go back to. So I would play her game and I move my little piece back to. Then she pulled double pink and she'd be like, yeah, I get to go 2 pinks. Clink, click. And I'm like, no, if I got to go back to, you got to go back to. She goes, no, if I pull it, it means I get to go forward to. And then I pull one and it would be red. She'd be like, oh, red. You got to go back to the beginning. Take the piece, pull all the way back to the beginning. Then she'll pull red, like red, and then move up. I get to move 3 reds. Click, click, click. And I remember telling her, I was like, I will never play Candyland with you because you rigged the game so that you can win. And there was a day when I kind of told God, and I was like trying to fix everything that was wrong with me. I'm trying to be a better person and better dad, a better, spouse, a better this and better that. And I realized, I can't fix anything. And I remember saying to God, like, yo, I feel like I'm playing my niece in Candyland and you keep changing the game. And I remember the Lord was putting in the back of my heart, like, I ain't changed the game. You're deciding to play this game. I didn't say you had to be perfect. You just got to be close. And not close as close to the mark. You got to be close to the Father, close to God. The closer you are to God, the less likely you're going to fall into traps and snares that destroy us. But being good doesn't equate the success, because that if that was the argument, then we all need to be on OnlyFans making pictures, because that means we need to listen to them, because that means them chicks on OnlyFans are bringing in 6 figures a month and having these lavish lifestyles and being glorified and all this other stuff, and have the nerve to call themselves entrepreneurs. So they don't have nothing because they got the success. They ain't got no problems in their life. Their problem is the OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? All these people who are super wealthy individuals who have no concept of God, and they're making money by putting poison in our food. That's a God bless them. God bless Nabisco for putting whatever that joint is in your Oreos. Listen, I am on a battle to stop Oreos. If I have to destroy Nabisco, I will. Don't eat them Oreos no more. You have no idea what that's doing to your brain. You might as well take heroin, shoot it up your veins, and snort a patch of cocaine. If they've actually taken this, they've actually done a picture of the brain on cocaine and a picture of the brain on Oreos. Your brain does the same cycle. So stop. Have you noticed that you can't break out? You can't stop doing Oreos. You can't stop eating them. It's addictive, bro. It's destroying you. We got to change the health in this country, bro, because this is ridiculous. But listen, the guy who made Nabisco, the president of Nabisco, living fat, bro, knowing he's killing the people, and they keep releasing different type of Oreos. And God, oh my God, I hate and I love them. I hate that I love them. Or the business model behind McDonald's has nothing to do with food or feeding people. Like, none of these businesses care about feeding us, because if they cared about feeding us, they would have better quality food. Okay. They would do more for the people who in the streets that are homeless and hungry. They'd feed them, because that would be their business model. If their business model was to feed people, then they go feed people. But listen, we're paying them $15 for a value meal that has barely any food in it. right? We don't even know where the pickles come from. Like, have you ever, bro, the food is not even food. And they're taking our money and giving us poison. And they openly know this. We know it now. All you gotta look is the nutritional facts. They shout out to Elise Acre, or actually I don't know what her name is now, but shout out to my homegirl Elise, who was part of she was part of the team that made fast food places and restaurants display the nutritional value of their foods at the restaurants. She was one of the team members that forced that. She pushed that in to make it a law. So shout out to her. But if you could look at it and be like, oh, wait, this burger has Constantina Pieces in it. I don't know what that is, but you know what I'm saying. And the guy, Ray Kroc, and all the other people who now make millions of dollars, billions worldwide from McDonald's. That's success. Collecting people's money, banking on the gluttony of American people, adding corn syrup to everything, even their salads. Even the McDonald's salad is unhealthy. You know how bad you have to be as a food company that your salad, dog, is causing diabetes? Your salad is causing diabetes. And they're collecting money and we're paying them to poison us. And I get it. Sometimes you're in a situation where you're starving. All you got is $20 and a Carl's Jr. You got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. But my point is, these people are not trustworthy. We find it now going on right there with this strike going on in Hollywood. If you really look at it, no side is really right. Because I guarantee you, when they come out with that deal, you know who's going to be out of the job? The middle and the little guy. They'll be out of the job. I guarantee you, bro. I guarantee you. Like, the only way that we're going to get out of this strike. No, this podcast ain't about the strike, but there's no winner in that one. Okay. Because the corporations, they're evil. The corporations are evil. Netflix and all those bad boys, they're evil. And we pay them money. We give them money. But at the other side, I don't trust the union at all. The actors, I'm not talking about the actors, I'm talking about the union. They're going to make a deal that benefits them and not necessarily the actors. So no one's going to come out as a winner in this one, especially the little guy. But yet, we're going to gauge, as Christians, we like to gauge success about who got the money, that must be the one that God loves because I guess they're successful. I just named for you 3 different situations where there's success, but there's no God. There's no concept of God. If there was a concept of God at McDonald's, they wouldn't be giving us these burgers and calling them Happy Meals and putting a toy in there and charging us $20 for it. I can say that. I hadn't had McDonald's in a long time. The McDonald's doesn't appeal to me. The McGriddle was a fire though. McGriddle was fire for a moment. I ain't gonna lie. I had to get delivered from the McGriddle. I'm part of the problem, right? I'm part of the problem. There's times where I got involved and I was like, yo, I'll put money towards a famous star, no problem. I was part of the problem. But then there's got to come a point where you have to wake up and say, yo, I can't be part of this problem no more. And thank God that God, there's a scripture that says, with long life, you'll satisfy me. And we don't know. Death is a scary thing to think about. We don't know when death is coming. We don't know when it's our time. We don't know when time is up. So you got to live every single day like it's your last. And people don't want to be a failure in life. They don't want to be remembered as a failure. I don't want to be remembered as a failure, and I don't think we will. People are going to remember good things about you. People are going to remember the things you made them feel, right? They'll remember in the long term whether you made them feel good about themselves, whether you were a dick to people. Like, people are going to remember that stuff more than they remember anything else. So you got to make sure that you do right by people and live your life every day, taking a step closer to what the plan was. I was going to be a good husband. Okay, well, it's not over yet. You wake up, your marriage might be in DEFCON 5, but it's not over. You can still do right. And sometimes doing right is the most uncomfortable thing. Sometimes doing right may be like, man, I don't want to do this, but you know it'd be the right thing to do. Do it. Do it. And just do the right thing and just be consistent. Some of us lose. Oh, shoot. Some of us lose because we're just not doing the thing we know we need to be doing. There's where short faith comes in. Like, I know what I should be doing. I'm just not doing it. Well, you ain't got no faith in what you're doing. Because if you have faith, you do it, even though you don't like doing it. It doesn't feel comfortable. I hate making this choice every single day. I hate going to the gym. But you know what? You have a plan. And to make the plan work, you have to be consistent every day. There are some levels where God has given you an assignment and told you, hey, A, B, C, and you are waiting to start it, and things have not looked good. In those environments, in those situations, yes, God is connected to that. And I'll even go a bit to say God in this, and some people make it so spiritual. Some Christians just make it so spiritual. I'm going to make it very natural for you. I'm going to make it very natural for you. God knows the beginning from the end. And he knows that your action through the obedience of what he told you to do will open up a door for an interaction, right? I can't think it's in physics. It's the law of thermodynamics, maybe. Every action has a rising reaction or something like that. But so here's something in perspective. Put it in perspective. God may have put in your heart to give a kid a ride home. You picked your son up from school, and there's this other kid you see walking home, and you be like, take his kid home too. You take that kid home, and you make it a habit of taking him. Now the kid's out of the way, but you make it a habit to take him home. And you're like, I don't know why, but God keeps telling me to take this kid home. So I keep taking the kid home, take the kid home. And you do it, and you've been obedient. You've been obedient for like a year or something like that. You get to know the kids' parents, and you get to love on them and all this other stuff. And then you come to find out that, they find out you do a nonprofit or something like that. You have a business, but you keep taking this kid home. You kind of adopted this kid, but you don't know why you're doing it. You're just doing it because God told you. Some people make it so magical. It's not magic. It's very simple. So then let's say one day that season ends, and that kid goes his way. Your kid moves on to another school or whatever, and you don't really see him much anymore. And then time goes on, and God says, okay, now's the time to start your flower shop or something like that. You start working on your flower shop, and in walks this dude, and the dude's looking at you like he know you, and he'd be like, wait a minute, you used to take me home every day when I was a kid. And he'd be like, oh, Brian, is that you? He'd be like, yeah, it's me. Ha ha ha. Man, listen, my parents were so thankful because during that season, my parents didn't have a car, blah, 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 blah. And in the last couple of years, I've done very well for myself business-wise. And you know what? I'll never forget what you've done for me. And I want to bless you. And then that kid gives you whatever it is that you need at that moment. And God provides, right? People make it seem like it's spooky. It's not spooky. God knew that kid was going to be somebody. And that he knew that one day you were going to need help. And he knew that kid would help you if you made an impact in that kid's life. So all he was telling you is just, hey, make an impact in this kid's life. Just be obedient. Because sometimes things don't work out. And I don't know how many times that's happened where I'd be like, this has never happened. I'm just using it as an example. Like helping an old lady cross the street. Like, yeah, I'm helping this old lady across the street and, fight off 18 wheelers and robbers, help her get across the street, not knowing that she had an inheritance that she was going to help Heritage Park with, and knew me and connected with me there. This never happened. I'm just saying there's been situations where I was obedient, and because I was obedient, something naturally opened, a door naturally unlocked. It's not spooky. It's just natural, organic situations that make themselves available. So being obedient is a process too. It's something, if you be obedient here, you'll find a blessing at the end of the obedience. Okay. So it's not a spiritual thing. It's not like God is trying to hurt you or God's trying to intimidate you and make you feel like you're less of a person. Just stop quitting. Just stop. God. Life changes and gets so much better if you just stop quitting. You'll make your people around you so much happier if you just stop quitting. I can tell you right now, people tired of hearing about your business model. I'm going to say it again to the people in the back. Cats are tired about hearing about your business model that you never do. Cats are tired of hearing about how you compare yourself to people who are doing the work to what you're about to do. Nobody cares about what you're about to do. Stop talking about it and quitting when times get hard. Like, you look like a fool. Quitters look like fools to me. Like, if anybody wants to lose respect for Ramon, just quit. Quitters piss me off, bro. They just piss me off. They just piss. As I'm talking, I'm like visualizing certain quitters in my life. And I'm like, that sucker is such a joke. Like, I don't like quitters. I just don't like them. I hate when people and it wastes people's resources. I got music for days. that I can't release. I can't do nothing with it because somebody quit. I got equity in businesses I can't do nothing with because I went to deal with quitters. And listen, the L on that is I have to go through my prospects a little bit more carefully. So I had to make I took the L. So take your L and figure out what went right, what went wrong. But I got equity in all my businesses I can't use because I got freaking quitters. Because I banked on a quitter. Think about it. Somebody banks on you and you quit. More than letting that person down, you let yourself down. You let yourself down, dog. Can you imagine letting yourself down? But you do. Every time you quit, you let everyone down, you let yourself down. Parents, every time you quit, you're letting your kids down. Your kids are watching you quit. I had a baseball kid quit this season. He quit. Oh, my phone's listening to me. I had a kid quit my baseball team this year. And I've never been so angry at a 14-year-old than I was about this kid. And I'm pretty sure he ain't watching this, so I'm gonna call it out. I'm not gonna call his name out, but basically the game was we were looking for my 100th win. We were winning. We were winning by 7. It's baseball. We were winning by 7. We're in the last inning. All this kid needs to do is make the third out. It literally was 2 outs, and he was playing catcher. And he didn't catch the strike 3. So in baseball, if you don't catch strike 3, it's still a strikeout, but the batter can steal first base if you don't catch the third strike. How he gets out is all you got to do is throw the ball to first base. The first baseman catches it, then he's out. So all you had to do was pick up the ball off the dirt, throw it to first base, game's still over, and we win this game. The ball gets too far deep, and he's so frustrated that he didn't catch the ball. He's walking to the ball. This kid is running to first base. I'm screaming, like, throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the ball. Kid gets on first base. And in baseball, you have these situations where you go, okay, this may be a problem because sometimes you compound problems. Sometimes baseball is a compound problem. I saw this happening because it was 2 outs. This kid gets on first. It would have been 3 outs if we had got him. And I was like, dang it. Okay, we might have a problem this inning. I didn't have a backup catcher. He was the backup catcher. My main catcher was injured and couldn't catch. He started dropping everything. So now we had to get another out. And he was dropping everything. And when catchers drop balls or balls get past them, you get the steal. Cats are running loose. And I kid you not, on 2 outs, we gave up all 7 runs. We gave up 7 runs, and out of the 7 runs, 5 of it was because our catcher couldn't catch the ball. And he missed the ball, and the kid was still home plate. Now, this is baseball. This is 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. So kids are watching this happen. Parents are watching this happen. I'm watching this happen. And this is not, I'm all about youth sports, but don't sugarcoat youth sports. If your kid is jacking up a game, you got to tell that kid, like, yo. So I pulled him to the side and I said, blankety blank. I'm, again, protecting his name. And this is exactly what I said. I didn't yell at him. I didn't cuss him. I'm like, you stupidest kid I ever met in my life. All I said was, listen, we had this game on lock. All you had to do was just catch one of these pass balls and we would have, this game is over. Because you couldn't catch the ball, we had to get our last at bats because we were the home team. So now we have to get 1 run to win. Or no, we had to go to, that's what it was. We had to go to extra innings. So now we got to go to extra innings to win this ball game. This bothers me because you let us down today because you weren't focused on catching the baseball. And I made a joke. I was like, it's in the name of your position. All you got to do is catch the ball. And it was a coaching moment. I pulled him to the side because it was already embarrassing enough. He let them get back in the game. You see it happen. You let 7 runs go by. So everyone knew it. So there was no need to tell him what he did in front of everybody. So I pulled him out and I kept saying to him too, like little things like stop resting your glove hand, stop sitting on your knees, get up. Like other things like that will mentally get in the way of you catching the ball. He didn't listen to any of that. So he gets into the dugout. I pulled him to the side away from the team. When I was done, I let him, he went to the dugout. And that was when it went to crazy. It went to hell. These kids lit into him. And at the end of the day, I couldn't do nothing. These are competitive 14, 15-year-olds. And they're like, Joker, why aren't you catching the ball? What the heck is wrong with you? And they're going off on him. And he's just like, yo, I'm doing the best I can. And one kid said, do better. We got to go to extra innings because of you. And they're not wrong. That's what happened. That's life, man. Sometimes life goes like that. That Joker quit the next day. And I'm okay with him. I'm not okay with him quitting. I don't like quitters. But then he lied and was like, his dad, who never shows up to any of the games, told his dad, yeah, I quit because I was trying to help them out. And then they were saying things about me being the only Asian on the team, which is not true. I had 2 other Asians on the team. They just don't look Asian, but they're Asian. So then the dad wants to come, and he literally came to the park to try to fight me, try to get physical with me. Then he didn't realize how huge I was because he was not involved in his son's life. And I remember telling him, the last thing I said to his dad, I was like, you're allowing your son to quit because it got hard and he had a big L. You allowing him to quit is going to speak volumes for him for the rest of his life. And he's going to quit a lot more. Of course, you can't say that to a parent. He was mad, but look, I got my 100 win, I guess. I don't know. Quitters just piss me off, man. Stop quitting. Yeah, you got to go back and start picking up and dusting off the cobwebs of projects and ideas that you had. Dust it off, man, because I'm telling you right now, for a lot of us, the secret to get out of the BS that we're in, and this is a blessing for those of you who watch the podcast all the way through, the secret to getting out of the BS that we're in is finishing the project that you had planned to start. Heritage Park, PROD is the website. Check it out. HBTV is where you watch all the great Heritage Park stuff, right? And shout out to the 2 people last week who sowed a seed into Heritage Park, man. Thank you. God bless you for your giving. And it's going into a really good business model and program. And we got 501s that we're doing things with too. So thank you for all the support that you guys have given. Thanks for the likes, the shares, and the comments, and the follows, man. That's great stuff. And then check out our store, man. We got cool stuff on the store. Some of you, I don't know what is up, but cats are buying the leather jacket. I'm like, it's too hot for that leather jacket. Maybe it's because it's a cheap price and they're trying to get the leather jacket in before the fall kicks in. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But anyways, Heritage Park people, man, love you. Epic Thinkers, God bless you. We will see you next week. Peace. Have a good one. 848-207-2631. That's the call.